Imagine this. You've spent your whole life believing that family is everything, that no matter what, they would always have your back. But what if the very people who should love and protect you are the ones tearing you apart? What if their presence is draining your soul, keeping you trapped in a cycle of pain, guilt, and betrayal? In this video, we're going to talk about the harsh truth. Sometimes even family can be toxic. And when you see these undeniable signs, it's not just okay, but absolutely necessary to walk away for the sake of your peace and survival. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Your support allows us to bring life-changing content like this every day. Now let's expose the signs that scream, it's time to end the relationship, no matter who it is. 1. They constantly undermine your worth. Picture this. You've just shared your dreams, hopes, or even just a small piece of your heart with someone you trust, someone you consider family. Instead of encouragement or even a neutral response, you're met with words that cut deep. You're being too sensitive, that's unrealistic, or the classic, you'll never amount to anything. These aren't just casual remarks, they're deliberate attempts to diminish your confidence, to keep you doubting yourself. And the worst part, it's coming from the very people who are supposed to uplift you, love you, and be your safe space. Now think about what this does to you over time. Every little comment chips away at your self-esteem, like a slow, silent erosion. You begin to question your abilities, your worth, and even your right to dream. These words don't just hurt in the moment. They echo in your mind, replaying every time you try to take a step forward. Imagine waking up every day with those voices in your head, dragging you down before you even begin. But here's the truth. This is not love. This is not support. This is emotional manipulation, plain and simple. When someone constantly belittles you, dismisses your feelings, or makes you feel like you're not good enough, they're not acting out of love or care. They're using their words as weapons to control you, to keep you small. Think about how dangerous this is. You can't thrive in an environment where you're constantly being told you're less than. It's like trying to grow a flower in poisoned soil. It simply won't happen. And here's the most heartbreaking part. Many people don't even realize how deeply this affects them. They internalize the negativity, believing it's true, and carry that burden into every aspect of their lives, relationships, careers, and even their mental health. Now let's make it personal. Has this happened to you? Have you ever felt crushed by the words of someone you love? Have you ever caught yourself hesitating, doubting, or holding back because of the things they've said to you? If you have, you're not alone, and it's not your fault. Here's what you need to understand. People who undermine your worth often do so because of their own insecurities. They fear your growth because it reminds them of their stagnation. They belittle you because it gives them a sense of control, of power. But let me be clear. This has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. The reality is this: you are worth so much more than their negativity. You deserve relationships that nourish your soul, not ones that deplete it. No one, and I mean no one, has the right to make you feel small. Not a parent, not a sibling, not a spouse, not anyone. So here's the powerful message I want you to take away. Never tolerate people, even family, who make you question your value. You are not obligated to stay in an environment where you are being hurt, belittled, or devalued. Walking away isn't selfish, it's survival. If someone constantly undermines your worth, they are showing you exactly how little they respect you. And respect is non-negotiable. You owe it to yourself to set boundaries, to protect your peace, and if necessary, to walk away. Yes, even if they're family. Your worth is not up for debate. It's not something anyone else gets to decide. It's time to reclaim your power, your confidence, and your life. Never forget, you are enough, more than enough, and you deserve to be surrounded by people who see that. 2. They use guilt as a weapon. Let's talk about one of the most insidious tools toxic family members use to control you: guilt. Not the kind of guilt that comes from your own conscience when you know you've done something wrong, but the type that's artificially planted in your mind by someone who's trying to manipulate you. Picture this. You've decided to prioritize yourself for once. Maybe it's something as simple as declining a family gathering because you need rest, or maybe it's something bigger, like moving to a new city to pursue your dreams. And then it happens. The subtle yet crushing remarks begin. "After everything we've done for you," or "How could you do this to us?" These words aren't just sentences, they're chains. Chains meant to keep you tied to their expectations, to make you feel as though putting yourself first is a crime. Toxic family members are experts at this game. They know how to say just the right thing to make you question your decisions and second-guess your worth. Let's make it real. Have you ever sacrificed your happiness just to avoid their guilt trips? Maybe you stayed in a situation that drained you, or said yes when every fiber of your being wanted to scream no. And in the end, did it bring you peace? Or did it leave you feeling even more broken, like a piece of yourself was stolen in the process? This is what guilt as a weapon does. It doesn't just control your actions, it erodes your spirit. It makes you feel like no matter what you do, you'll never be enough, and you'll always owe them something. But here's the truth. Love is not supposed to feel like this. True love isn't about control or obligation. It doesn't demand that you sacrifice your happiness to prove your loyalty. Real love supports you, encourages you, and wants you to thrive, even if that means making choices they don't agree with. Let me take it a step further. Toxic family members who use guilt to control you often frame their manipulation as love. "They just want what's best for you," they'll say, or "they're only trying to protect you." But here's the catch. Love and control cannot coexist. When someone's love comes with strings attached, it's not love at all. Think about this. If you continue to let guilt dictate your life, where does it end? How much of your happiness are you willing to sacrifice to keep them satisfied? And the hard truth is, they'll never truly be satisfied. Toxic people will always find a new way to make you feel guilty, because it's not about you, it's about their need to control you. Here's the actionable insight you need to hear. It's time to reclaim your freedom. If someone, even family, uses guilt to manipulate you, you have every right to set boundaries. You are not obligated to give up your dreams, your peace, or your well-being for anyone else. Walking away from guilt-driven relationships isn't selfish, it's survival. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot thrive in an environment where your needs are constantly dismissed. So here's my challenge to you. The next time someone tries to use guilt as a weapon, stop and ask yourself, is this love or is this control? If it's control, don't give them the power to dictate your life. Take it back. You owe it to yourself to live a life free from manipulation. At the end of the day, you are not responsible for their happiness. You are responsible for your own. True love will never demand that you set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. 3. They refuse to respect your boundaries. Let's talk about boundaries, those invisible lines that protect your peace, your time, and your emotional well-being. Healthy families respect those lines, but toxic family members, they see them as nothing more than hurdles to jump over, walls to tear down, and rules to ignore. Picture this. You've set a simple boundary. Maybe you told them you need time to yourself, that you won't be available for a visit, or that you'd prefer they not involve themselves in your personal decisions. But instead of respecting that, they push, pry, and even guilt trip you for daring to stand up for yourself. They'll say things like, "But we're family," as if that somehow gives them the right to invade your space or override your choices. They'll make you feel like your boundaries are selfish, that your no is an insult, and that your desire for privacy is a betrayal. Let me ask you this. How does it feel when they do this? When someone blatantly disregards the boundaries you've worked hard to set, it doesn't just feel frustrating, it feels violating. It sends the message that your needs don't matter, that your voice isn't worth listening to, and that their desires will always come before your peace. Now let's make it extreme. Imagine building a wall around yourself, a wall meant to keep you safe, secure, and free from unnecessary stress. And now imagine someone you care about deliberately knocking it down, brick by brick, every single time you rebuild it. They're not just trespassing. They're showing you that they have no regard for your well-being. This isn't love. It's disrespect. And the harsh truth is, people who truly care about you don't need to be reminded to respect your boundaries. They don't argue with your no. They don't push past your limits or try to manipulate you into changing them. They honor your boundaries because they honor you. Let's take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt like your boundaries were treated like suggestions instead of rules? Maybe a family member kept prying into your personal life, asking questions you weren't comfortable answering. Maybe they kept showing up uninvited, forcing you to accommodate them even when you needed time to yourself. Or maybe they simply ignored your wishes, doing what they wanted regardless of how it affected you. If any of this sounds familiar, it's time to recognize it for what it is, a lack of respect. And here's the reality. If someone can't respect your boundaries, they can't truly respect you. Here's what you need to understand. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're essential. They're the foundation of every healthy relationship. Without them, you're left exposed, vulnerable, and constantly drained. Toxic family members will try to convince you that your boundaries are unreasonable, that they're just being family, and that you're the one who's wrong for wanting space. But you're not wrong. You're not selfish. You're simply protecting yourself, and there is nothing wrong with that. Here's your call to action. Demand respect for your boundaries. Communicate them clearly, enforce them firmly, and don't back down when they're tested. And if someone, even family, continues to disregard your boundaries, it's time to reassess their place in your life. Walking away from people who refuse to respect your limits isn't a betrayal, it's self-preservation. You deserve relationships that nourish you, not ones that drain you. Remember this, your boundaries are a reflection of your self-worth. When you demand respect for them, you're telling the world that your peace, your time, and your well-being are non-negotiable. And anyone who truly loves you will respect that, no questions asked. 4. They create drama and chaos. Let's dive into a behavior that's as toxic as it is exhausting. Those family members who seem to live for drama. They stir the pot, spread gossip, and pit people against each other, all while somehow painting themselves as the innocent victim, or worse, making you the villain. Picture this. You're trying to maintain some peace in your life. You're focused on your goals, your happiness, and your own personal growth. But then, out of nowhere, you're dragged into a whirlwind of arguments, accusations, and endless gossip. You didn't ask for it, and yet you find yourself in the center of their chaos. And here's the worst part. They thrive on it. Drama isn't just an occasional slip for them, it's a way of life. It's how they keep control, keep attention, and keep everyone on edge. These people are like emotional storm clouds, constantly brewing chaos and dropping it on anyone within reach. Let me ask you this. How many times have you been blamed for something you didn't even do? How often have you found yourself in the middle of conflicts that weren't even yours to begin with? Toxic family members are experts at shifting blame and pointing fingers. They'll whisper behind your back, turn others against you, and then act surprised when you confront them. Think of your life as a garden, a place where you're trying to grow beautiful things, your dreams, your relationships, your peace. But what happens when someone keeps throwing weeds into your garden? No matter how hard you work to pull them out, they just keep coming back, choking the life out of everything you're trying to nurture. That's exactly what these toxic family members do. Their drama isn't just annoying, it's destructive. It drains your energy, steals your focus, and leaves you emotionally exhausted. And the sad truth is, as long as you stay tangled in their web, you'll never have the space or clarity to truly thrive. Here's what you need to realize. People who create constant drama aren't just being difficult or complicated. They're being manipulative. They use chaos as a tool to keep you tangled up, distracted, and unable to focus on yourself. And they'll never stop, not as long as it works. Let's make it personal. Have you ever tried to step away from their chaos, only to have them pull you right back in? Maybe you decided to stop engaging in their arguments or refused to listen to their gossip, but they found a way to drag you back into their mess. It's a cycle, and the longer you stay in it, the harder it becomes to break free. Here's the truth. You deserve peace. You deserve a life free from constant conflict, blame, and emotional manipulation. But you'll never find that peace as long as you're surrounded by people who thrive on drama. So here's the powerful advice you need to hear. Step away from the chaos. Distance yourself from the people who refuse to let you live in peace. This doesn't mean you hate them or wish them harm. It simply means you're choosing yourself. And yes, it's hard. It's especially hard when it's family. Society tells us that family bonds are unbreakable, that we should endure anything for the sake of keeping the family together. But let me ask you this. At what cost? If someone's behavior is constantly draining you, stressing you, and holding you back, then it doesn't matter if they're family. They're not acting out of love. They're acting out of selfishness. And you have every right to protect yourself from that. Your life is your garden, and you are the one who decides what grows there. Don't let anyone, even family, fill it with weeds. Set boundaries, create distance, and surround yourself with people who bring peace, not chaos. You are worthy of a life where you can grow, thrive, and flourish without being dragged down by unnecessary drama. And it starts with making the choice to prioritize your well-being over their chaos. 5. They never acknowledge their mistakes. Let's address one of the most frustrating and damaging traits of toxic family members: their complete inability to acknowledge their mistakes. These are the people who will hurt you, deny it ever happened, and somehow twist the situation until you're the one apologizing. Picture this. You confront them about something they did. Maybe they lied to you, broke a promise, or crossed a boundary. Instead of owning up to it, they deflect. "I didn't mean it that way," they'll say. Or worse, "You're overreacting." Suddenly, the conversation isn't about their behavior anymore. It's about your reaction, and this pattern repeats over and over again. They make you feel like you're the problem for even bringing it up. They gaslight you, twist the facts, and refuse to take accountability for the pain they've caused. Let's make it personal. How many times have you apologized for something you didn't even do just to keep the peace? How many times have you let go of your own hurt because you knew they'd never admit they were wrong? This isn't just frustrating, it's deeply damaging. When someone refuses to acknowledge their mistakes, they're sending a clear message: your feelings don't matter. It's not just a lack of accountability, it's a lack of respect for you as a person. Imagine you're carrying a heavy load, a bag filled with all the hurt, disappointment, and unresolved issues they've placed on you. Every time they refuse to take responsibility, that bag gets heavier. And the worst part? They'll never help you carry it. In fact, they'll act like it doesn't even exist. This is the weight of being in a relationship with someone who never admits they're wrong. It leaves you carrying the burden of their mistakes while they walk away completely unscathed. Here's the harsh truth. Accountability is the foundation of healthy relationships. Without it, there can be no trust, no growth, and no real connection. When someone refuses to acknowledge their mistakes, they're refusing to grow, not just as a person, but within the relationship itself. Let's reflect. Have you ever been in a situation where you were hurt, but instead of receiving an apology, you were met with excuses? Maybe they told you that you were being too sensitive, or that you took it the wrong way. Maybe they even turned the tables and made you feel guilty for bringing it up. If this sounds familiar, it's time to ask yourself a difficult question. How much longer are you willing to tolerate this? How many more times are you going to let someone dismiss your feelings and leave you carrying the weight of their actions? Here's the truth you need to hear. People who truly care about you will take responsibility for their actions. They'll apologize when they've hurt you, and they'll make an effort to do better. Toxic family members, on the other hand, will never admit fault, because admitting fault means losing control. And make no mistake, this isn't just stubbornness, it's manipulation. By refusing to acknowledge their mistakes, they're keeping you in a cycle of guilt, frustration, and emotional exhaustion. So what's the solution? It's simple, but not easy. Stop giving your time and energy to people who refuse to take responsibility. This doesn't mean you have to start a fight or seek revenge. It simply means prioritizing your peace over their ego. Here's your call to action. Draw a line. If someone, even family, can't own their mistakes, they don't deserve unlimited access to your time, your energy, or your emotions. You are not obligated to carry the weight of their actions. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, and respect begins with accountability. If someone can't admit when they're wrong, they're not just avoiding responsibility, they're avoiding growth. You deserve relationships that uplift you, not ones that drag you down. You deserve apologies, accountability, and real effort. And if someone can't give you that, then they don't deserve a place in your life. It's as simple and as powerful as that. 6. They are jealous of your success. Family is meant to be your biggest cheerleader, your safe place, and your unwavering support system. But what happens when they're not? What happens when the people you expect to celebrate your victories are the very ones who resent them? Let's talk about one of the most heartbreaking signs of toxic relationships, when your own family is jealous of your success. Picture this. You've worked hard. You've poured your heart and soul into achieving something, whether it's a career milestone, a personal goal, or even just finding happiness in your life. Naturally, you're excited to share your accomplishment with the people closest to you, but instead of applause or pride, you're met with something else entirely: indifference, criticism, or even subtle hostility. Maybe it's a dismissive comment like, "Oh, that's nice, but it's not a big deal." Or perhaps it's a snide remark meant to undercut your achievement. Must be nice to get lucky like that. Worse still, they might try to turn the spotlight back on themselves. That reminds me of when I did something even better. Let's make it personal. Think back to a moment like this in your own life. You achieved something you were truly proud of and thought, "I can't wait to tell my family." But when you did, the response was anything but supportive. Maybe they brushed it off or found a way to make it about them. Maybe they outright criticized you. How did that make you feel? Did it dim your excitement? Did it make you question whether your success was even worth celebrating? Here's the truth. Genuine love celebrates your growth, no matter how high you rise. The people who truly care about you will be there, clapping the loudest when you succeed. They won't feel threatened by your accomplishments. They'll feel inspired. But toxic family members, they're a different story. For them, your success feels like a spotlight shining on their insecurities. Instead of seeing your achievement as something to celebrate, they see it as a reminder of their own perceived shortcomings. And so, they react with jealousy, resentment, or even passive-aggressive behavior to pull you back down. Let's make it extreme. Imagine climbing a mountain. You've spent years preparing, working tirelessly to reach the summit. When you finally make it, you look around for the people who were supposed to climb with you, only to realize they're not there. Instead, they're at the bottom, throwing stones at you, trying to knock you off balance. This is what it feels like when family is jealous of your success. Instead of lifting you higher, they're trying to bring you down. And the longer you let them stay in your life, the more they'll chip away at your confidence, your motivation, and your joy. Let's reflect. How often have you downplayed your own success just to avoid making someone else feel uncomfortable? How many times have you held back on sharing your achievements because you knew they wouldn't be met with genuine support? If this sounds familiar, it's time to recognize something important. People who envy your success aren't truly in your corner. They're not rooting for you to win. They're secretly hoping you'll fail. Here's the powerful advice you need to hear. Distance yourself from people who can't celebrate your victories. It doesn't matter if they're family. Toxic behavior is toxic behavior. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who cheer for you, and who genuinely want to see you thrive. Let's get real. This isn't about being petty or cutting people off for minor flaws. It's about protecting your peace, your confidence, and your happiness. It's about refusing to let someone else's jealousy dim your light. Here's your call to action. If someone, even family, is making you feel guilty for thriving, it's time to reevaluate their place in your life. You don't need their approval, and you don't owe them an explanation. Your success is yours, and you deserve to celebrate it without fear of judgment or resentment. Your success, your happiness, and your peace are non-negotiable. Don't let anyone, no matter who they are, make you feel otherwise. Life is too short to waste time on people who can't be happy for you. Choose to surround yourself with those who clap for your victories, support your dreams, and encourage your growth. Because at the end of the day, the only people who deserve a seat at your table are the ones who are truly in your corner. And that's a standard worth keeping. As we conclude, it's never easy to let go of family, but remember this: blood doesn't give anyone the right to disrespect, manipulate, or harm you. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to choose yourself. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that empowers you to live your best life. Let us know in the comments if you've ever faced a toxic relationship and how you overcame it. Your peace is priceless. Never settle for less. Thanks for watching.